Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 20, Text 17. Translation and commentary by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Nridehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham Plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam Mayanukulena nabhasvateritam Puman bhavabdhim nataret sa atmaha. You can read the translation in Tamil. Translation: the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Purport: the human body, which is obtained after passing through many inferior forms, is created in such a way that it can award the highest perfection of life. A human being is supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the bona fide spiritual master is the appropriate guide for such service. The causeless mercy of Lord Krsna is compared to favorable winds that help the boat of the body to ply smoothly on the course back home, back to Godhead. Lord Krsna gives his personal instructions in Vedic literature, speaks through the bona fide spiritual master, and encourages, warns, and protects his sincere devotee from within the devotee's heart. Such merciful guidance of the Lord moves a sincere soul quickly on the path back to Godhead, but one who cannot understand that the human body is a suitable boat for crossing the ocean of material existence will see no need to accept a captain in the form of the spiritual master, and will not at all appreciate the favorable winds of the Lord's mercy. He has no chance of achieving the goal of human life. Acting against his own self-interest, he gradually becomes the killer of his own soul. This verse parallels the verse that I spoke on a few days ago. The same word is used, sudurlabha. The human life is rarely achieved, very rarely achieved. Every preacher, especially the preachers of Krishna consciousness, should learn this verse. Labdva sudurlabhamidam bahusambhavanti. Begins with this line. At least preaching among Hindus, it's a line which can and should be used in every discourse with people who are not serious about spiritual life, which means almost everybody. And the verse we're reading today is from the same section of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam. It's from the Uddhava Gita, Lord Krishna's instructions to Uddhava, described in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a slight difference in the import of the verse to the Labdva Sudurlabham verse, inasmuch as this verse which we're reading today addresses the situation of one who has taken up the spirit of the Labdva Sudurlabham verse. He's taken to spiritual life, or at least has come very close to doing so. He's come in contact with a with the Shastra, with bona fide spiritual master, but still fails to cross the ocean of material existence. This is the ocean of material existence, Bhava Saga. It is a standard analogy. It's so standard that it's so often quoted that Bhava Saga, or the ocean of material existence, it's more or less taken that there is an ocean. It's become an ocean. By usage, it's actually come to be considered an ocean. It is an ocean. The ocean is vast and difficult to cross. The flew off elsewhere. It's not an ordinary achievement to cross an ocean. So in the same way, material existence is vast, fathomless, and difficult to escape from. There is a place to go to on the other side, but it requires, there are certain conditions required to cross that ocean of material existence. Elsewhere in Bhagavatam, the example is given of trying to cross the ocean by holding onto the tail of a dog. If you see a dog jumps in the edge of the sea, and you think, I will have my opportunity to cross the sea, I'll hold the tail of the dog and I will cross over the ocean like this. It's rank foolishness. Another example, this is all in this Uddhava Gita. Another example, no, that's in the 10th canto, isn't it? Of the example is given of entering a boat for crossing the ocean. You realize you need a boat to cross. So what's a good material for making boats with? Traditionally it would mostly be wood, right? For a small light boat, maybe cane. Nowadays, metal, fiberglass, these are various materials. How about stone? Would that make a good material for making a boat? There's lots of stone around here, granite. We make a boat out of the stone and go on the lake with it. The Bhagavatam says that trying to cross, taking shelter of a cheetah is like, a bogus so-called guru is like entering a boat of stone and trying to cross the ocean. So this human form of life is compared to a boat which is suitable for crossing the ocean. If we go to here, this Yercaud lake, and take one little boat which is used for paddling around on the lake, and think, I will take this to Chennai, and I will cross the ocean and go around Singapore and go to Los Angeles in that boat. Is it possible? A suitable boat is required for crossing the ocean. The suitable boat for crossing the ocean of material existence is the human form. Of course, the boat may be suitable, but one also has to have other conditions. Just like the Titanic boat was said to be unsinkable. As is well known, it sank on its first voyage, which was, at the time, it was a great blow for persons who were touting the glories of modern technological progress. By declaring the Titanic to be unsinkable, they were in effect saying that, at least in this sphere, we have conquered nature. We've defied nature. Nature cannot touch us. Forces of nature. So probably theists at that time were sniggering at the sinking of the Titanic. Sniggering means laughing in a way that you don't really want people to see you laughing, like somewhat privately laughing. They don't want to come out and say, "Great, they all died." Like in the modern age, when this AIDS first came and they were saying, "Oh, it's going to be a terrible epidemic," and certain Christians were saying, "Good, let all the sinful people get their just punishment from God." So the Titanic might not have sunk. Most ships don't sink. They go through, 20, 30 years of service, and then they're scrapped or sold off to, sold from an American company to a Philippine company or something like that. And then it's, after some time, scrapped. So the Titanic, I presume you all know about the Titanic because this film came out recently. The posters were there in India also. So it became well known also in India. There was a blockbuster movie about it. About, 10 years ago? Something like that. 12 years ago. Mr. Facts and Figures. Yeah, okay. But one thing they didn't factor into the consideration while they were calling Titanic unsinkable is human intelligence, or the lack of it, which is called human stupidity. It was indeed human stupidity to even declare it unsinkable in the first place. But generally, if a ship is in the hands of a capable captain, it's generally ships don't sink anyway. If they're well built and they're in the hands of a capable captain and a capable crew. So the Titanic struck an iceberg and sunk. So the captain should have considered that, well, we're in the vicinity of icebergs, so we should be careful. We better get out of this area altogether. But maybe because he was thinking that it's unsinkable, that even if we hit an iceberg, it won't sink. So then they hit the iceberg, and it started to sink. The people might have been screaming and saying, the ship's sinking. The captain was saying, no, it can't be sinking. It's the Titanic. It's unsinkable. But it's sinking. But it can't be sinking. Bloop, 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 bloop. Herr Einstein is reported to have said that two things are unlimited, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure of the first. Not sure of the first, that means he's sure of the second. Anyway, the purport of this lengthy digression, which becomes twice as long when it's translated, is that even though we have a good opportunity to go back to Godhead, we have to have a good captain of the ship. We have to have a good guru. And we also have to follow his instructions. In the 64 angas, or aspects of devotional service given by Rupa Goswami, the first 4 are Guru Padashrayas Tasmat, Krishna Diksha Anushikshanam, Vishrambhena Guru Seva. That means to take shelter of the lotus feet of a guru, to take initiation from him, to take instruction from him, and to serve him with affection. So it's not that simply by getting the human form of life, or even by just deciding to take to spiritual life, that one can progress on the path back to Godhead. And as indicated in the verse that we're reading today, it's also not enough to take shelter of a spiritual master or even to take initiation from him. You find people coming asking for shelter, and then they take diksha. There's another 62 aspects of devotional service to be considered. But of which the next one, the third, is shiksha. It's actually Krishna Diksha it's Anushiksha, which suggests that the prefix anu suggests that even if one is not directly instructed by, even if not face-to-face instructed by the spiritual master, one may also be instructed by his representatives. So there are many rules and regulations to follow. Mayanukulena nabhasvateritam. The instructions, Lord Krishna says, given by me in Shastra, are like the favorable winds for blowing the ship on the course back to Godhead. So we have to learn what those are and apply them practically in our lives. Therefore, we should all read the Nectar of Devotion and learn what those rules are and follow them. In the Nectar of Devotion, it's also described some aspects of the perfectional stage of devotional service, prayojana tattva. That is prema bhakti. That is the ultimate goal of life, to attain pure devotional service in pure love of Krishna. The parents of these children, please take them out, and you can sit outside. Let the children play outside, please. It's not surprising if children can't sit and listen to all of this, but it's better they do so outside. Nothing wrong if they play, but just take them outside and let them do that. So, before prema bhakti, there are the stages of sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti. These are all described in the Nectar of Devotion. So it is a ridiculous proposition to think that we can just automatically go from the stage of a conditioned soul to one who is full in love of Krishna. Sometimes we see, it's actually more common in North India, that there are arrangements for people to hear the Bhagavat Katha. And the speaker speaks on all the different leelas of Krishna, maybe some of the other avatars also. Usually with some musical accompaniment and a good deal of flamboyancy. Flamboyancy in this context means going like this, dramatics. Sometimes speaking very slowly and quietly, and then boom, shouting loudly, and for effect, we can say. This is still very, well, not very, but yeah, you get good crowds. Good performer pulls big crowds, even today. But it is absurd to think that people whose their day-to-day lives are passed in calm, krodh, lobh, thinking where to get money, family affairs, and then they just come in and they switch all that off, and then they switch on to prema bhakti. And then they go back home and switch on the TV and, take their tea, or I guess in South India more likely to be coffee, and life goes on as usual. This is all ridiculous. Therefore, intelligent people, they reject religion, because the whole religion is either fanaticism or sentimentalism. Intelligence seems to be, just like at the Osho ashram in Pune, it says, shoes and mind should be left at the door. Actually, there's no need to state that, because anyone who had any intelligence would never go anywhere near that place anyway. But, therefore people who are intelligent, they look at all this and they think, this is ridiculous. They're right. Srila Prabhupada always wanted to present Krishna consciousness in an intelligent manner, as Krishna did to Arjuna. That human stupidity is unlimited, said Einstein, although man is supposed to be a rational animal. That's what we're told, that man is a rational animal. But we generally see that people are not very rational, they're irrational, which means that they're just animals, that's all. If you say that man is a rational animal, but this is a man and he's not rational, then you leave out the adjective rational, then he's just an animal. Most people act on the basis of their emotions, which are again based on desires for sense gratification. This is the Vedic analysis. A few days ago I was speaking about Vedic psychology. I thought a little bit more about that Western Vedic psychology is based on understanding with the mind, with the idea of delivering it from material entanglement, of transcending material contamination, which begins with kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Desire, mundane desire, is the basic condition of the contaminated mind. So Vedic psychology recognizes this as a contamination, which covers the pure consciousness, the pure function of the consciousness, which is the characteristic of the soul, which is ultimately to love Krishna. But in modern psychology, the idea is to adjust the mind so that one can feel satisfied in the atmosphere of material desire. Because it's not based on Shastra, it's apratishta, asatyam apratishtam te. They don't have any basis in truth or reality. But kim anyat kama haitukam, what else is there but desire to fulfill our desire? There's nothing left that's the only thing that there is. They recognize such characteristics as krodha, anger, lobha, greed, matsarya, envy as unhealthy, psychologically unhealthy and harmful for the individual and for other members of society. So they try to keep the karma and adjust it in such a way so there's no excess krodh, lobha. They have no idea about moha, they're so completely in moha. And envy, all these things should be diminished. But they don't know, because they don't have any actual knowledge. They don't know that as long as there is material desire, there must be also material anger, greed, envy, and all other undesirable qualities. And even the Mayavadis, they want to get rid of all these qualities, all these bad qualities, kam, krodh, lobh, moha. But they don't know that kam, krodh, lobh, moha, mada, matsarya, they're all very good. Actually, these are all very good. Kama, desire for Krishna, is very good. Kama, Krishna karma pane. One should have a desire to serve Krishna. And anger is very good. Krodha bhakta dveshi jana. It's very good to be angry at those who are demons, envious of Krishna and his devotees. Far better than a sadhu sitting on a rock, quietly meditating, is Prabhupada shouting, "You're all fools and rascals." Far better than this sadhu sitting doing nothing on a rock, enviously forgetting Krishna, is the monkeys throwing rocks at Ravana's army. So this anger is worshipable. Then lobha, greed, that's also very good. Lobha bhakta shange harikatha, something like that. One should be greedy to hear about Krishna in the association of devotees. And if one is bewildered by love for Krishna, that's very good. If one is intoxicated by love for Krishna, that's very good. And although there's no actual envy in Krishna consciousness, if one is fiercely committed against all the rascals who are envious of Krishna, then that is very good. In fact, if one is not against all these rascals who claim themselves to be God, then he cannot be a devotee of Krishna. If you love someone and someone else is trying to kill that person, and you say, and you make friends with that person, say, well, actually he's very nice, he's got a lot of good qualities, then what is that? How can you say you love a person when someone else is trying to kill them? A mother, someone's trying to kill her child, and the person comes to the door and says, well, we should be nice to everyone. So yes, please come inside. So the Mayavadis, they want to kill Krishna. They say, he has no form, he has no legs, hands, eyes, he can't speak, therefore Bhagavad Gita is all useless. Oh, what happened? Can't speak. They want to make him a non-entity. So many devotees, they speak of love of Krishna as if it's just like, something you can put a coin in a machine and pull it out. I don't think they have those vending machines. They have them in the West. Right? You put the money in and you pull out and you get a packet of cigarettes or something. As if Krishna is so easy to attain. But if one is very much committed against the Mayavadi demons that is very pleasing to Krishna. If one wants to make a compromise with them, what does that mean? It means he's a secret agent. He's a very dangerous person. He's a spy in your camp. At least this we learned from Srila Prabhupada, that we should have a healthy dislike, not dislike, stronger than that, healthy aversion towards those who want to kill Krishna by declaring him formless, nameless, pastimeless, associateless, etc. They present themselves as being free from ego because they don't criticize anyone. But indirectly they're criticizing Krishna because Krishna criticizes rascals like them. And therefore the real way to be egoless is to submit our ego to Krishna. We don't think ourselves so advanced that we've risen above everything, including Krishna. We are simply the servants of Krishna. And Krishna says, the Namang Dushkritino Murha, people who do not surrender to me are fools, and we simply repeat that. And even if the Mayavadis think that we are very egoistic, we don't care. We're going to serve Krishna. We're not going to sit on the opposite shore of Lanka and do meditation while Ram is fighting on the other side to smash Ravana. It's what Arjuna wanted to do. He wanted to leave the fight. But Krishna, he said, I want to stay. So Arjuna didn't say, okay, you stay and I'll just go off and do meditation somewhere. Arjuna has to stay with Krishna. So like that, when Ram is attacking Lanka, then we should join the monkeys and pick up some rocks and go and throw rocks too. We want to see Ravana beaten and smashed. We want to see his head cut off and cut off and cut off and cut off and cut off. He's got 10 heads, right? So you have to count 10. He only got 5 so far. And cut off and cut off and cut off and cut off and cut off. They're all gone. He's dead. We want to see his body lying on the battlefield, covered in blood, lifeless. This is bhakti. And when it was all over, Ram ordered Vibhishana, now you do his funeral ceremony for his benefit. Now, Ram didn't intrinsically hate Ravana because he is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is the best friend of all living beings, including even Ravana. But Ram expressed his great love for Ravana by attacking him and killing him. That was the best thing for Ravana. There's no other way to benefit him. So the Mayavadis, they cannot have any benefit simply by indulging them and saying they're very nice. That's what they want people to think. That boosts their egoism. They're trying to make a show of being egoless, but there's so much ego. Therefore, devotional service means to be prepared to perform any service for Krishna. So the devotee simply does what Krishna says. The Mayavadis, they may look down, oh, these devotees, they're just, what are they doing? They're still on the platform of desire. The Mayavadis see them as such. The Mayavadis cannot understand how the desire to serve Krishna is far more exalted than their desire to become free from desire, which is impossible. So, desire to serve Krishna, that is the actual path of spiritual life. That is the favorable wind, that is what is directed in Shastra, the favorable instruction that will guide our boat over the ocean of material existence. But even if you have a good boat, the human form of life, and you have good winds in the form of instructions of Shastra given by Krishna, you still need a good captain. Because a good captain knows how to set the sails to take advantage of the wind. If the captain doesn't actually know what he's doing, then he may set the sails so that he catches the wind, but it blows you in the wrong direction, or it blows you so fast or at an angle so that the boat goes actually into the water and collapses. To sail a boat, it's a great science. You have to know what you're doing, otherwise it's very dangerous. Even if you have an excellent ship with excellent sails, but if you don't know how to set them properly, then you're in great danger. And if the captain gives you wrong instructions, he's not actually qualified as a captain, then you're in great danger. So the captain of the ship has to know the science of the weather and how to adjust the boat according to the wind and the tide, and so many considerations are there. There's so many considerations that you don't go in the iceberg area. Don't go in the doldrums. I'll explain what the doldrums are. The doldrums is an area in the South Atlantic where there's no wind, and if you enter that, you're finished. Generally no wind, so you go and then you're just stuck in the middle of nowhere. Even when you're coming into port, you may have sailed over the whole ocean, but when you're coming into port, there's a whole other science of how to actually come in and dock the ship. You need some special guidance at that stage. They have tugboats. Just like driving a car, driving on the highway is one thing, and parking is a whole other aspect, which you may be expert at driving, but you have to know how to park the car also. So if the captain doesn't know what he's doing, then you're in a lot of trouble. If the captain says, well, just let the crew tie the sails as they like, or let's do it according to some artistic design. You see, we're always tying it in this way. There are all these standard designs. Let's try something new. You just tie it anyway. You have to tie the sails, so, just let everyone tie it the way they like. Everyone should just tie the sail in whatever way they like, and don't criticize anyone, because everyone can do whatever they like. So I'm tying it like this, and if you want, you can tie it like that, and anyone can tie it any way they like, and everyone's got their own path, and it's all wonderful. So I may say, well, this is a very liberal-minded captain, but he's a rascal. He's taking the position of a captain of a ship, but he's not applying the science which is required. If you say that, well, all the paths are the same, it's nonsense. There's a particular science of how to cross the ocean. So we don't say all the paths are the same. Everyone has their own individual path. My path is this and your path is that, and we don't criticize anyone. But Krishna criticizes those who take to the wrong path, which is that which is not pure devotional service to him, which does not take us across the ocean of material existence. So our lack of egoism is that we accept Krishna as being correct. We don't accept that everyone is correct except Krishna. Or maybe Krishna is also correct, and then everyone... Krishna gives one path and you just choose your own path as you like. So if actually one is going to be a devotee of Krishna, then he must be very much against the Mayavadis. There's no way around it. We may respect them for being spiritually minded, some of them, but we cannot say that their impersonalism is anywhere near as good or correct as the actual path of surrender to Krishna given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So you may think, well, this is all very negative. Why don't we talk something more positive? Well, unless we get rid of these misconceptions, there's no question of entering into the positive. Unless we clearly recognize the difference between Mayavad, Bhogavad, or the idea of enjoying the material world, and pure devotional service to Krishna, then we can never actually enter into pure devotional service to Krishna. Whereas, do you have first canto part 1 there? Srila Prabhupada expresses it very nicely. First canto part 1, negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the positive, something like that. Where is that? Srila Prabhupada expresses it very, how shall we say, what's the word? Eruditely, or... No, that's not the verse. No, I can't. If we had the Veda base, you could look it up. Negation, here it is. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. So there's so much. Every line of Prabhupada's books is... you can do a PhD thesis on it, if you like. The PhD thesis is our life. Our life should be based on this instruction. Okay, I'll finish now. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any more candidates for heavy dose of mercy? Devotees come and ask for, we want your mercy, we want your blessings. Okay, take the mercy and blessings. I'm prepared to give anyone who wants. Lots of mercy and lots of blessings. 18 volumes, big volumes. Whoever wants can come and get it. Anyone who doesn't have Bhagavatam in their home, your home is a fit place for residence for snakes. Simply envious creatures. Where there's no Bhagavatam, there must be simply envy. So, to get the mercy, you can contact Narottam over here. He's handing out the mercy on my behalf, on Prabhupada's behalf. Also available in Telugu, English, Tamil, Telugu. We have Bhagavatam here in Telugu, so I'm told. And Hindi also? Yes, Guru Maharaj. Okay, whatever language. Kannada also. Whatever language is good for you, take a set. Another thing, when you all leave here and go on your long journey back to wherever your place of residence is, if you're going on a journey that entails traveling by train, especially if you're traveling by train, take some of Prabhupada's books and distribute them on the train. We have books here, you can take them, spread the mercy. Yeah, Jai, one more set going out. How many is that now? How many sets in this camp?
How many sets so far in this camp? Including this one, 19.
This is the number 19. Number 19, Madhavendra Puri Das. Number 20, and counting. Number 20, is 21? 21. How many did we do in Baruch? We did 21 in Baruch. No, this looks like Gita. Is it? It's taking Gita. What does that mean? You're not taking a set? I see.
Yes, she is taking sets, so that is 21st.
This is a Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Unnamai Uravil. Hare Krishna.
10 o'clock we start with Kirtan, 11 to 12 2 lectures. 12 o'clock is it okay?
Yeah, whenever you call me, just give me 5-10 minutes advance notice. Also, we have copies here of Sri Namamrita, a compilation in English of Srila Prabhupada's writings about the holy name. Yeah. Well, I guess you don't need to translate it, because if you can't understand this, well, some people might take it for their friends, family, neighbors. So often devotees ask how to improve their chanting. If you read a little bit from this book, Sri Namamrita, every day, this will help you improve your chanting. So we brought 40 copies and we have about 8, something like that left. So if you don't have one, rush. Srila Prabhupada said book distribution is the guru's business. So I don't have much idea about being a guru, but at least I can ask you to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. So there's no breakfast for